What's the lie you believed the longest in your life? One time my mom was at the store and she brought home something for herself, my sister and my dad, and 5-year-old me was like, "What did you get for me?" And to prevent me from being left out, she reached into the bag and was like, "Oh, I got you this potato masher." And for years before anyone mashed any potatoes, they came and asked me if they could use it. Okay, I'm going to sound dumb here. I loved the movie Pretty Woman as a young kid. I asked why people were mean to her, and my mom said because she was a redhead. She was wearing a blonde wig in the beginning, and in real life, kids teased the redhead kids, so it checks out. Years later, I'm 22, and my friend says she wants to watch it. Cool, I loved it when I was little. We started, and right away, I'm like, oh my god, she's a prostitute. That the dog went to an actual farm. Took about 30 years before the realization hit. That my mom was a redhead. For years I thought she was a natural redhead. She was 40 when I entered the picture, so I always knew she dyed her hair. Just thought it was to cover up her grays. When I was about 35, my niece clued me in on a family secret. When my mom first spotted my dad at work back in the day, she asked around about him. Someone told her, he only dates redheads. Mom started dyeing her hair from brown to red, and sure enough she got the date. And eventually, she got the ring. I never suspected. Photos from the 50s were like black and white or sepia, and her brown hair looked like it could have been red. But she had 5 kids and none of us are gingers, just wasn't something I ever thought about or suspected. And yeah, Dad knows. But didn't broadcast it to us kids. So I believed that for ages. My mom told me when I was 5 and my favorite dog died that it doesn't matter that dogs die, because in 7 years they respawn. So I was like, oh, fine, see you then bud, I will be older and we will play again. While dating, my husband made a joke about the Chicago Bulls disbanding after their second three-peat. I'm not a big sports ball fan, so I thought he was serious. Just being funny, he told me this whole story about it being done because they kept winning and wanted to give other teams a chance, so the players all went the other teams. I bought it hook, line and sinker. He was amused and we went about life. From time to time the Chicago Bulls' 90s glory would come up as a topic and I would comment on how awesome it was that they were such good sportsmen that they disbanded to give others a chance. The first time I repeated it, my husband couldn't believe I still thought that was true and was so amused he didn't correct me. Every time it came up he said it got funnier and funnier, and at one point he decided to see how long it would go on. Cue about 8 years later and I'm at work and it's the NBA playoffs. Lo and behold, someone says the Bulls are their favorite team. Cue my typical comment. But this time my coworker looked at me and was like, WTF did you just say? The jig was up and I went home and said, hey, did you know the Bulls never stopped being a team? My husband almost wet himself, he was laughing so hard and said, someone finally told you. I'll admit, it's pretty funny. When I was very young we had a pet hamster. He got out of his cage, so my dad put the cage in the basement thinking he might get hungry and get back in. One morning I woke up and there was the hamster in his cage in the usual place. I asked my mom how they found him and she told me she opened the door to the cellar and there he was dragging his cage back upstairs. It wasn't until I was a teenager and remembered the exchange that it occurred to me she obviously made that up. The stripper service who left a message on our home phone didn't call the wrong father's name. That if I ran over the cord with the vacuum cleaner it could suck it up and eventually suck in the whole world. During an exceptionally dark time I said fuck it and ran over the vacuum cord. Nothing. Do over. Nothing. Try a different angle. Nothing. My disappointment was immediate and immeasurable. That if I tried hard, worked hard, was a good person, everything would be okay. That if I went to college, worked hard, I'd be successful and get a good paying job and be financially set for life. I have a PhD, and even with a decently well-paying job I'm living paycheck to paycheck and feel like I'll never get ahead. Will never own a home, won't be able to retire, will never be comfortable. It was all for nothing. My cat brought a lizard into the house. It was still alive. I decided to build it a terrarium and nurse it back to health. I did so and then released it back into the wild a few days later. My mum told me that the cat immediately went outside and ate the lizard after I had released it when I was 18. She and my dad knew I'd be devastated, so they lied by omission and didn't tell me. The way she sat me down to tell me scared the shit out of me. I thought she was going to tell me something dreadful. I thought I saved that lizard for years, face with tears of joy. My mom told me it was fucking illegal to drive with the cabin light on. That was 23 years of bullshit, Mom. That I was allergic to hamsters. My mom told me that I was after I got an allergy test when I was 9. I was about 26 when I put it together that she hated rodents and wanted me to stop asking for a pet hamster. The entire original story of the Mormon Church. As it turns out, the whole damn thing is fabricated. Oh well. Marilyn Manson removed his ribs so he can BJ himself. The Easter Rabbi. If you didn't decorate eggs, you'd get the Easter Rabbi instead of the Easter Bunny, and you'd lose Christmas. Love is enough. That if you treat others the way you want to be treated, they'd do the same with you. Biggest lie I was ever told. That along with if I'm a nice person, do my best, and try harder, it'll be good. It is not good. And none of those sayings matter at all. Carrots give you superior night vision. Even as a kid I was okay with being night blind. God, I hate carrots. I love you quote by my ex. Parents always sacrifice for their children's benefit. Nope. Some throw their kids under the bus quite quickly. The microwave will explode if I put my face too close to it while it's heating food. That the sun is getting close to Earth each year. Women don't get horny. That Santa was real, and even when I was told he wasn't, I still didn't want to believe it. I feel bad now knowing how hard my mom struggled to make sure we had presents, even with no money. She would crochet baby doll clothes for me. She would go to a dollar store and get so many dollar store toys. Kids were so different then. I was so excited for those toys, I had no clue they were cheap. I was 5-ish, and I had a brother visiting from college. When he left, he took a few boxes of cereal with him. When I asked why, he said he was going to check them for food poisoning. I never found out if they were good or not. Hard work coupled with honesty will get you places. You know that Brenda Lee song Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree? There's the part where she says maybe we'll get some pumpkin pie, and I always thought she said maybe we'll get some fucking pie, and my older brother indulged me and said that was allowed on the radio because it was a Christmas classic. I think I was like 12 when I finally figured it out. Money doesn't buy you happiness. If I'm gonna be miserable either way, I'd much rather have that money. That our uncle died after being kicked by a horse. In reality, he died of cirrhosis in prison after being caught counterfeiting checks. I don't know why they didn't just tell us cirrhosis and leave it at that. We wouldn't have known. This was before Google. As it was, we thought the horse story was cool and spread it throughout the neighborhood. LOL. All puns unintended. The American dream: work hard and do good. You will be rewarded and successful. When I was young and Obama was running for president, I saw the lawn signs that said Obama Biden. I asked my mom what Biden meant, and she said it was someone who supports Obama. For years I thought Biden meant a supporter. I didn't know it was a real person. I'm not good enough. Police were there to protect us. That my parents were so burdened by me and that I deserved every bit of their abuse. The government acts in the best interest of its people and that politicians actually care about you. Joe Paterno and his football program were an honorable program compared to the wretched hive of scum and villainy at other programs. And then, that the U.S. is some form of democracy. It's a corporatocracy. Lie. I believed the longest would probably, that the Pluto was a planet. It was even taught in schools, not until it was announced that it wasn't.